Okay, we ready?
Well, welcome to the regular Piqua City Commission meeting, Tuesday, May 19th, 2020. Let's start this session with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Foad,
Here.
Commissioner Pearson. Here. Mayor Lee,
Here.
Commissioner Grissom.
Here.
Commissioner Hines.
Here.
All right. Next, we want to announce the Spring Residents Pride Awards. There will be pictures posted, and we'll first start with 1250 Park Avenue, the residence that belongs to Karen Pickard. That's very nice. I'm very jealous.
They've done a lot to that place. It looks
She's
really
done
good.
a lot to that
Yes.
place. It looks
Really
really good.
And I can't to mow grass to save my life, so that looks great. Next is 811 Vine Street, Juanita Bell. Love those stones. That is very nice looking house. Next, 1036 Broadway, Terry and Billie Lewis.
Looks really good.
I love the mulch, stones. It looks great. People are really doing a good job of taking care of the residents. Next is 1114 Walker Street, Christopher and Kaylee Swink. Gorgeous. And people do take pride in their homes. I love that. And finally is 803 Camp Street, David and Janie Hitchings. And that looks great. I love the driveway. I mean, the house is gorgeous. The grass looks great. Good job. I'd like to congratulate all our Spring Resident Pride Award winners and thank them for the hard work that they're putting into the residents that makes the city of Piqua look good.
I would mention that we typically have the signs up at their yards, but it's been a little too wet, so we'll get those up as soon as possible.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
I want to add on the Residents Pride Awards. I was looking at them, and 4 of them are in my ward. Really impressed
bragging.
by that. I know.
Bragging rights,
Hey,
huh?
I'm going to brag about that. So I really appreciate the people working on those. Love our area, and for them to be able to show that off, I think is a great thing.
Keep up the good work in his ward
Absolutely.
and all the rest of the citizens as well. Thank you very much. Next, we'll have the consent agenda.
Yes, there's 8 items on the consent agenda tonight. The first is approval of the minutes from the May 5th, 2020 regular Piqua City Commission meeting. The next resolution is a resolution appointing April Dankworth to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a term to expire March 1st, 2023. The next is a resolution appointing Wade Davis to the Board of Zoning Appeals for a term to expire March 1st, 2025. Next is a resolution appointing Wayne Davey to the Civil Service Commission for a term to expire March 1st, 2023. Next is a resolution appointing Michael Gutman to the Civil Service Commission for a term to expire March 1st, 2023. Next is a resolution appointing Jonathan Roman to the Civil Service Commission for a term to expire March 1st, 2023. Next is a resolution appointing Paul Simmons to the Income Tax Board of Review for a term to expire March 1st, 2025. And lastly, a resolution appointing Michael McGonigal to the Energy Board for a term to expire March 1st, 2024.
All righty. Do we need to approve the consent agenda or take a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is new business. We will start with resolution number R-80-20.
A resolution of intent to vacate public right-of-way.
Mr. Smeezing will have all 5 items tonight, so I'll just let him go at it.
Thank you, Gary. So I'll try not to be too long-winded on any of these items.
We won't let you.
Okay, thank you. The first item here is really, it's a formality, I guess, if you will. It's the process for vacating a public right-of-way. This is a small segment of unimproved platted public alley right-of-way off of East Main Street, between East Main and First Street, between Staunton and Carr. It's unimproved, it's overgrown with vegetation, or at least it was until recently. We've cleared it to eliminate the nuisance conditions, and the property owner adjacent to it has expressed an interest and willingness to receive the property once vacated. So this is what initiates the process when you're declaring your intent to vacate. It'll be advertised to the public, a public hearing will be held at the Planning Commission, and then we'll return it to the City Commission for formal action.
Any questions from the commission? Yeah, it is an improvement. She's right.
Wow.
It looks good.
Yes.
Yes, it does. I'll entertain a motion then.
I make a motion, we approve resolution number R-80-20.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next on the agenda is resolution number R-81-20.
A resolution to dedicate a bike path easement.
This item's located at the site of the Wood Street Lofts project, which you've heard us discuss previously. If you've not been by the site recently, you might want to take a drive by. The demolition crew was busy today. Their old barn and the old tavern is gone, so the site is now essentially cleared and ready for construction activity, which should start here in the next several weeks. But as part of the replatting to get the lot ready for the development activity, we vacated a portion of an alley right-of-way, again, unimproved, that extended through the site east and west. And at the very easternmost edge, where it touched what is now the new bike path connection, where Commercial Street would extend to the north, it's where the bike path connects up to the Ohio to Indiana Trail. When we vacated that portion of the alley, we actually we vacated our rights, our public rights to the land underlying that little square where it's touching the bike path. Previously, when the bike path easement was dedicated, it didn't include that portion that was in the public right-of-way. So this is going back and cleaning up an oversight. The developer is conveying an easement to us for that portion that was previously in the public alley right-of-way, but subsequently vacated. So now he's giving back our rights for that public improvement.
Okay.
So was that, you said that they're giving it back, there was just a discrepancy, it wasn't a dispute between, they're willing to give back, no problem, we're just cleaning up some of the records in that regard?
Yeah, it's just, it's remedying what was shown on the replat survey that vacated the alley, which removed our public interest in the land where the bike path is located. So recognizing that, they're saying, oh, okay, well, we need to give you an easement where the bike path is at.
Okay,
So,
thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions? When is that project expected, the development project for that area supposed to be completed?
Completion, I think, is anticipated about 9 months, 9 to 12 months, I'll say.
That's gonna look totally
But
different
if
over
the
there.
weather cooperates and everything goes smoothly, and 9 months is reasonable, and it'll be about $7.5 million investment, 54 new units of workforce housing, and a tremendous, improvement compared to what
It
was
already
there.
looks different over there now.
It already looks better, yeah.
But it's gonna look totally different with apartments in there, so.
Yeah, sure will.
All right. No other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to adopt resolution number R-81-20.
Second?
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of resolution number R-81-20, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is resolution number R-82-20.
A resolution to authorize execution of a quick claim deed over in-lot 9087.
This again pertains to the Wood Street Lofts development site. As they were completing the replatting process and filing the survey, they became aware of an overlap in the survey deed and plat records where the property abuts the former rail line to the north side of the property. This is not terribly uncommon. Oftentimes, when you have a survey record for a long linear stretch like the rail line from corp limit to corp limit, it doesn't necessarily fit with everything else that it touches throughout the community. So some of you may recall we had a very similar item a couple years ago with the former Fensel property on the north side of the railroad where we did the same thing. There was a discrepancy between the surveys, so we did a quick claim deed to acknowledge that the city really doesn't have any rights or interest in the couple feet that overlap, and so we expressed that formally through this process. Doing the same thing here, so it's what gives the lenders for the project the peace of mind in knowing that there is no one else who could place a lien or have any interest in the property or the investments.
Any questions from the commission? I'd ask the audience, but there's no questions. I'll entertain a motion then.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution R-82-20.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is resolution number R-83-20.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to sign the program year 2020 CHIP Program Partnership Agreement by and between the Miami County Board of Commissioners, the City of Piqua, the City of Tip City, and the City of Troy for the Ohio Development Services Agency Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program.
So this item obviously relates to the CHIP program, the Community Housing and Impact Preservation Program, affectionately known as CHIP. And this is a two-year program, so typically we'll apply for these funds, the program will run for 2 years, and then we'll reapply. So you see this item about every 2 years. I think the last time we had it was 2017, so we're more on a 3-year pace this time. But the reason for the item you have before you this evening is ODSA prefers that applicants work jointly with their county agency. So rather than Tip City and Piqua and Troy each filing a separate application, they would like us to partner through the county and submit them together. It gives us a better opportunity or a higher probability of receiving the funding. It's not guaranteed. It's an ask. We typically get it, but we don't always get it. So this is the agreement that's necessary to formally establish the partnership with Miami County to be able to put this item in front of the state and make the ask. You'll see that the total program is for $815,000, and Piqua's portion of that is $260,000, which will give us the funds necessary to do approximately 4 owner rehab projects and hopefully around 8 owner home repair projects. Each of those projects have a cap that the program administrators place on it, the Ohio Community Development Office. And so on the rehab side, it's $60,000 max per property, and it's $16,000 max on the repair side of the program. There's criteria that go with the applications. The applicants have to qualify under the low to moderate income HUD guidelines. They publish the standards in terms of what the household income can be based upon the number of occupants in the household. And if they can meet those standards, then they could be eligible for this funding. Currently, we have a waiting list of 62 different parties who are interested. So as we get inquiries over the years, if they don't fit one of our existing programs, we maintain that wait list. We'll know sometime in September, October if we've been approved. Once we get that approval from the state, it will actually be the first of next year before we receive the funding. Once the funding commitment letter comes, we'd send the notice out to those 62 individuals on the wait list and let them know the availability of the funding. And then from there, it's kind of a first come, first serve in terms of who applies and when they apply, and then meeting if they meet the criteria and their application is solid and we're able to fund them. so until the funds run out. We do consult with, there's a home inspection component to this. The individual who does that work has to be certified under the state's CDBG program. So we engage that individual. They actually go out and do the inspection of the property to determine if if the repair that they're asking for the funding for is necessary, and B, if there's more extensive work that needs to be done than what they're asking for. So in other words, we're not going to fund the replacement of a HVAC unit if there's a big hole in the roof. They're going to need to do both. So that's the difference between the home repair and the home rehab. Repair is for, hey, I need a new roof, or I just need HVAC. So it's a one or two item kind of endeavor, hence the $16,000 max, versus if there's a more extensive scope of work that's necessary and there's multiple items, then it's a full rehab. So that inspector makes that determination in accordance with the program guidelines and the rules that have to be followed for us to stay in compliance. And then that's part of the vetting process as we review the applications and determine whether or not we're going to be able to fund the request. So backing up a step, this is just putting in place that partnership so that we're in a good position to be able to proceed with the county and applying for the funds.
Chris, I was asked the question earlier. I want to make sure I gave the correct answer, but I believe Miami County handles the programs for Troy and Tip City.
So they are kind of the overarching administrator, but historically, Troy and Tip relied on the county to administer the programs. This year, Troy is pivoting away from that. Troy's going to,
Okay.
through a consultant who will be doing it for them, administer their own program,
Okay.
kind of just like we do.
Okay, any questions from the commission? I'll entertain a motion then.
I make a motion, we approve resolution number R-83-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last resolution is resolution number R-84-20.
A resolution authorizing the sale of city-owned real estate.
This is for the property located at 128 East Water Street, which was formerly known as the Miami Valley Safety Building. It's been on the market for sale for a few months now and is currently under contract. The individual who has it under contract has reached out to us to find out some additional information concerning the proposed riverfront redevelopment activity and what some of the possibilities might be for this property. And one of the issues that they wanted to make sure they had resolved before they proceeded with acquisition is addressing the encroachment of the property onto the former Miami-Erie Canal, which we now hold the governor's deed to. I will tell you through the conversations with the individual looking to buy it, it's the riverfront redevelopment plan, the vision documents that we put forward that really has inspired him to move forward with this. And in saying that, he has given us a letter of intent so that we had some assurance that if we went through the motions of conveying the canal land, that the improvements would actually be something appropriate and desirable. And what he is telling us is that he is anticipating investing around $300,000 in renovating the property. There are two existing apartments on the upper floor, and he's imagining those would be restored to be very nice apartments available across from the park space and adjacent to the downtown amenities. And the lower level, he doesn't know what the end use would be, but he describes it as something that would be very cool and fit with the downtown riverfront redevelopment initiative. This is similar, if not exactly the same, as the proposal that we discussed at the north end of the alley a couple months ago. And here again, we would be relying on ODNR to consent to the conveyance of the property in accordance with the terms of our agreement when we secure the governor's deed. So we're awaiting their response, but I have no reason to believe that they won't be agreeable to this. It's almost identical to the other one which they approved. And once we get that consent, provided City Commission agrees and is willing to authorize the conveyance of this property, we would then work with the property owner to complete the transaction and convey the property to them at a joint closing. So it would be dependent upon them proceeding with the purchase of the main portion of the property.
Any questions from the commission? Is he the only person that was interested in this property?
That I don't know. Well, I can tell you that I've referred 2 or 3 people there. But this is the only one who I know of who followed up in terms of really wanting to potentially purchase it.
Did I understand you correctly? There are apartments above? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, on the Spring Street frontage, there's a separate door.
Okay.
And so there's a little stairway that takes you up along the face of the building there. And once you get up there, it's they're pretty. They need updated, but they've got kind of a cool retro vibe going on right now with the old cast aluminum cabinetry and everything, which I say save. I think it's kind of cool, but I don't think that'll happen. I think he's going to gut the whole thing and put in new modern finishes and everything.
Great location. Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Busy location. Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt resolution number R-84-20.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the public comment section of the meeting. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the city commission regarding agenda items or issues. Because of the social distancing and the pandemic, we have people send in questions. One question was sent in. It was from William Jacqua, 607 North Sunset Drive. His question is, are we going to open our pool? If not, then fire the city manager immediately and hire one who can. We pay our city manager $150,000 a year, and if you can't figure it out, find someone who can. Well, at this point, we've already decided, Mr. Jacqua, that we were not going to open the pool. And we did not spend the $230,000 to $260,000 to repair the pool, only to get RFQs back and say we decided to go into a different direction. We had to cut $2.5 million out of the budget, and at this point, that money is spoken for at this point. Did we get the RFQs back for the pool?
Yes, we have, and I think they're going before, the next step is early June, to go before the park board for review.
All right, once they go to the park board, there's going to be a citizens advisory group for the pool. And once we get the park board's recommendations as to who to go with, then we'll enact the citizen advisory group, and we'll start getting citizen input on what we're going to do with the pool. It is a shame that we can't open our pool, but in light of the governor's recommendations and all the restrictions that would go into effect, how many other places are not opening pools? Can you
Well, this
give a
week,
list?
we actually had a survey of all the cities around the Dayton area, and at this point, outdoor pools not opening include Kettering, Miamisburg, Springfield, Dayton, Franklin, Vandalia, Sydney, and we're waiting to see what Troy and Tip City are going to do. They haven't made a decision yet.
They sure haven't. Okay, so we're not going to open the pool at this point in time, but something will be done with the pool. And rest assured, citizen input and citizens have a lot to say about what's going to happen with that. So appreciate your question, and thank you very much.
Kaylee,
And,
can I make a comment on this one real quick?
well, I just want to add that I have every bit of confidence in the city manager, and I don't intend on firing him at this at this point. So, I mean, it's. I just want you got my support. Okay.
In regards to the pool closing, I want you guys, I guess, conversation needs to be had that the city manager, he had oversight, but however, the city commission is the one that decided at the end of the day that this would be the best thing for the city. So, Mr. Huff, appreciate you supporting our decision.
Yep.
And going forward with this, and the city commission will continue to work as hard as we can to provide best public service.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda would be the city manager's report.
Well, thank you. I thought tonight I'd let Chris, since he's here and doing all the work, share with you what some of our businesses have been doing related to the COVID virus. He's been gathering information, and so I'll let him share some of the, I guess, innovative ideas and things that our manufacturers have done during this period.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, you've probably seen most of these announcements online or on social media already, but you know what I thought when I mentioned this to Gary, I thought it would be a really appropriate gesture for us to recognize those industries in our community in this forum who have really continued to innovate through these difficult times and do the things necessary to pivot so that they could continue to operate, but also be a part of the solution in responding to the COVID pandemic. So just a quick shout out here to Even Flow. They innovate and deliver the best-in-class infant care and juvenile products, and they're located at 1801 Commerce Drive in Piqua, Ohio. Brian Whitley, the plant manager up there, is a terrific guy, and they do wonderful work. And their COVID pivot was that they began manufacturing plexiglass face shields. Isaiah Industries, manufacturer of the world's most beautiful metal roofs. I took these taglines off their website, by the way, but I agree entirely. 8510 Industry Park Drive, Piqua, Ohio, Todd Miller and his team. Their COVID pivot was they began manufacturing metal nose strips for face masks. Queen Exhibits, they design and deliver engaging and creative exhibits that showcase their client's brand. 1707 Commerce Drive in Piqua, Ohio, Cheryl Queen and Walt Queen. And their COVID pivot was they added a social distancing product line.
Nice.
Atlanta Sportswear, quality and printed sportswear and promotional products. And they literally produce product that is all over this globe and attached to some of the biggest sporting events in the world. They're at 344 Fox Drive, Piqua, Ohio, Scott Reardon and his son Kyle Reardon. And their COVID pivot was they began producing cloth protective face masks. Infinity Fasteners, also on 133 Fox Drive. They produce quality and printed, I'm sorry, wrong tagline. Infinity Fasteners, as their name suggests, produces quality fasteners. And their COVID pivot was to make available N95 and face masks that they had available. Industry Product Company, long-standing business here in our community that produces high-quality tooling, manufacturing, and the assembly of other automotive components. 500 Statler Road, Piqua, Ohio, Linda Cleveland and her team. And their COVID pivot was they partnered with Fast Lane and Premier Health to create PPE medical gowns. So these are not the things they're doing every day. They made the adjustments to be able to adjust to what was going on and be responsive to the conditions. And I know there's Quint Custom Signs, and he's created some plexiglass shields and others probably who I'm missing who have done some things in our community. But I wanted to share it just because I think it really reflects the innovative and entrepreneur spirit of the businesses and industries in our community. These are very difficult times, of course, but they're not defeated by this. They simply said, okay, well, what do we need to do? And they've adjusted, they've responded accordingly, and they're making it work. And even so now, they're doing these other things, but as we talk with the different industry leaders in our community, they're telling us that they're ramping back up. And so there have been some instances of furloughs, of course, but they're calling people back. And so what we're hearing is mostly good news. And when we talk with our regional counterparts at DDC and others, they're telling us the same thing. All the industries they're talking to, they're beginning to reemerge. So I'm sure there's going to be a process, a little bit of a period of time where things aren't what they used to be. But the good news, at least from what I'm hearing, is that we're heading in the right direction coming out of this. So that was something I wanted to share this evening. I also wanted to mention real quickly, you've heard me talk about the IDC Spring Expansion Project, a $2.2 million investment by the family who owns and operates the business out there. If you haven't been out that way, take a drive out Country Club Road. The project is getting close to completion, and it really is a remarkable change in terms of the outward appearance of that building, and is great at the entryway off of the interstate there. It's going to look really good. And I know the owners are very pleased with the work that the Bruns Development's done for them. and they're also very complimentary of their working relationship they've enjoyed with the city throughout this process. So we take great pride in that. Of course, that project allowed us to leverage their investment to be able to put into place the Scarborough Drive Extension project. And as you know, we just got bids back. We had a pre-bid last week, or a pre-con meeting, and Milligan Construction should be out there moving dirt here in the next week or two. So here before long, we'll have another 10 acres of land that's open for development, and that's critical when we're talking to DDC and Jobs Ohio and seeking those opportunities to be able to recruit businesses here when they get those requests for information. Related to that, not long ago, you heard me announce that the former Takata building on Innovation Parkway was occupied by Brown Integrated Logistics. That's a 71,000 square foot building that had been purchased by Benzar Properties. And working with Nick Benzman, the owner, and bringing him some different leads. And he saw the pent up demand for modern industrial buildings of that type in our community that perhaps we're lacking an inventory of. And so in continuing the dialogue after the folks from Brown took occupancy of the building, Mr. Benzman decided that with the additional 8 acres to the west of that property, that it was the appropriate time and that the working relationship with the community was such that he felt compelled to go ahead with investing in a 112,000 square foot spec building, which was just recently approved through conversations with the Planning Commission. And that relates to there's about 120 feet of street extension on Innovation Parkway that'll happen. So that's a $4.5 million investment in uncertain times on a spec building, which is difficult to do in the best of times. But that speaks, I think, to the understanding of Benzar Properties of the need that's in the marketplace. And I think it also, if I can give myself a pat on the back, more so the development department a pat on the back, it speaks to the level of cooperation and the feelings or the positive vibe that the folks have about our community when they engage with us and they start looking at projects. I'll wait for, he'll share it with you himself. They have nothing but positive things to say about Piqua and about our department. So those things, those relationships that we build, the trust that we build with them, the information, the responsiveness that we provide, that's what gets us to the point where we end up with them saying, you know what, I'm going to invest $4.5 million and build a 112,000 square foot spec building with the opportunity for rail service in your community. And so I'm very, very pleased with that and very excited to share that with you tonight. And I also need to give a plug to Hobart Service next door. If not for their willingness to be cooperative in allowing for a sewer line across their property to be dedicated to the city, there would be no sanitary sewer connection for this improvement, and the project wouldn't be able to go forward. So many thanks to Hobart for their cooperative spirit and civic mindedness. It's what's making this happen, or in part what's allowing it to happen. So again, I think it speaks volumes of the type of individuals and the type of corporations that we have doing business in our community, and the impression that they make and that you all make, that we make on other developers when they come into our community, and it makes them want to do more work here. So we're making some inroads there, and I think good things are happening. There's still things to get done, and we'll continue to work hard, but I'm just really excited to share that with you. So thank you.
Thank you.
I can't top
Arm's
anything.
not too sore from
I tried, I didn't mean to go there. I honestly
I know,
didn't.
you're fine.
But
You're fine. You deserve a pat on the back.
It's relevant, and I
It
want to
is.
share it because
You guys deserve it. The development department is doing good work, and we appreciate it.
it's
And
important. And
all the stuff that you guys have worked on is coming to fruition. So we appreciate all the hard work that you do.
well, and what I do is an extension of this body, right? So if I'm selling them on the community and building trust in that relationship, but they're not hearing the same message from you all, then it's all for naught.
Yep.
So it's a partnership, and a couple of you were at the Jobs Ohio presentation at DDC, and you can't emphasize that enough, that we all have to be in lockstep in terms of the efforts and the conversation that we're having, and at the end of the day, it produces results.
How's this
We're seeing
building
it.
in comparative to the buildings that they put up in Sydney? Because we talk a lot about Sydney's industry So with Benzar actually coming into Pickwa, where does this building get put in comparative to what they've done there on, I believe, the Vandemark extension that they did?
I think the easier comparison for me would be to say it'll look like the sister building to the one that's already out there at the corner of Innovation and Industry Park, a very modern metal structure, 22-foot high ceilings, 4 or 5 loading docks on either end of the building for the shipping and receiving. It's a flexible design, so it could be warehousing and logistics. It could be light industrial, easily adapted to whatever the needs of the end user might be. And couple that with the fact that you've got a rail spur opportunity there, that's a very, very attractive site. And from an economic development standpoint, one that's fun to be able to market.
I agree.
There'll be no lack of interest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And
I interrupted you. I'm sorry, sir.
I'm sorry. I just want to mention that Chris mentions that one, complimenting Pickwa. We've heard that time and time again.
Oh, yeah.
Over the years, that people enjoy working with us here in the city because we are, despite what comments are out there that we try to run businesses out, that's exactly opposite of what we do. We actually work to encourage every type of business to come here. So, and I think the results of what happens as they work with us, the compliments demonstrate that
We are starting to
clearly,
see.
that we're trying to be as hospitable and helpful as we can to any new business that
We're starting to see the benefits of
Yes.
that. So keep up the good work. All
And I can't top any more than what Chris said, so that finishes my report. So.
okay. All right, we will do commissioner reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Hines.
Exciting to hear all the ways that Pickwa, Ohio is helping out in this crisis, so thank you. That was
Exactly.
wonderful to hear that, just to think about all the different places, pieces of what we are producing are helping, so thank you. That was wonderful. The only thing I have is congratulations to our high school graduates. It's kind of and all of our graduates, our college graduates as well. It's not exactly how they thought they would be graduating, but it is what it is, and I think they are making the best of it. I heard earlier, I know the high school has offered 3 different options for folks for graduation, and I think some of them were out there yesterday and today doing the individual shots, and about 5:15 cars came down Main Street with balloons and for somebody who had graduated. So I think we're being creative as best as we can be in the midst of this to continue to celebrate these folks. But congratulations to all of our graduates here in the city. It's a different time, but it's also an exciting time to launch into what's next. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Grissom.
So one, I wanted to say congratulations to all those that joined the boards.
Yes.
We just had a round of a lot of well-qualified people come through, and I just can't say how impressed I am to see some of the resumes that we got to take a look at. We got some really good people on board. Want to give a shout out to Jay and Wayne. We both all went through the government committee academy, and so it's nice to see people that participate in that and then actually take steps forward to actually join some boards and get involved. So still encouraging that as much as we can, having people involved. It's just been a joy working with a lot of people and seeing them actually take action too. For the pool, I agree with you. You know, it was a decision that had to be made.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what we come for the future though with it and what we can do to give to our residents here in Pickwa. I did want to reach out too about, I've seen the chamber do a lot of good work and trying to help assist our small businesses. Any type of information I see, I try to put out there for our small businesses to let them know that we're reopening and people are taking action. So I want to highly encourage continuing to support them. I know they need it at this time. There's a lot of people that have, as you say, come up with creative ways to get by, but they still need our community support. So please support our local businesses, do whatever you can in those regards because they definitely help support our community. And that's all I have.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Pierce.
I wanted just to congratulate the winners of this year's Spring Residents Pride Award. And also, I was looking at the city website, and the U.S. Census Bureau has multiple employment opportunities. So if you need a full or a part-time job, they are hiring with many different positions available. And again, I'm so excited about Piqua at this difficult time and how we rise above. And
We do.
It just makes me feel, Piqua should be very proud. Thank you.
Just to mention one thing in regard to the census, the latest return rate that I saw for Piqua was about 65%.
Pretty good.
It needs to be more, so we would certainly encourage residents to do the automated online application with census, because we do need to get those numbers up. It is extremely important and affects the amount of money the community and state receive over the years, so, for the next 10 years. So it's extremely important, and we hope everyone will participate.
I have one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
I was out on the bike path the other day, and the hydraulic has all kinds of, it looks like a bloom of some kind growing, but the harvester was out and was cleaning that up a little bit, so it looks so much better.
All right. I appreciate your comments, and thank you very much. Commissioner Pope.
I got a chance to get out to our parks the latter part of last week, have lunch while I was out there, and I was glad to see a whole bunch of citizens out there as well, taking lunch away, and actually seen some groups of citizens out there, you know, done their social distancing thing. They had lawn chairs set up and a big circle and crowds of people out there talking, so I was really glad to see that. I encourage everybody to go out and go to the park still. Enjoy it as much as you can. Unfortunately, right now, this is only good weather for a duck, but, yeah, weather's weather. I did have something, I had a citizen bring up to me today, and I just want to throw this out there. With all the children being out of school, please watch the speed limits going through town. You know, we have posted speed limits, and I drive through a lot of the slower ones, and I do see a lot of kids that are out there. So please pay attention to those. Make sure that we're taking safety of all the kids into consideration. And last thing that I'm gonna close out on is congratulations to the class of 2020.
Great, thank you very much. All right, guess it's my turn, mayor's report. First thing I want to start with is I got this picture of a Piqua couple that celebrates its 50th anniversary. So, and I don't know, can you zoom in on that?
He's getting it.
This is a good-looking guy and a gorgeous woman, and that would be Commissioner Pearson and her husband, Ron, celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary. So I'd like to congratulate you on a happy anniversary. I mean, I can only strive to get to where you're at, and I'm 20, well, it will be 27 years in, so I got about 23 more to go.
Okay.
So
You'll
congratulations.
get there. Yeah, thank you very much.
No problem.
Wow.
Next, I'd like to congratulate all our Residents' Pride Award winners. Thank you for maintaining your property. It is a challenge to the rest of the citizens. If you can maintain your property that well, you can get, well, without the rain, you could get a yard sign in your yard and recognition too. We want to make Piqua look as good as it can. So if we all meet that challenge, we'll all be Residents' Pride Award winners. So thank you guys and congratulations. I want to congratulate all the board appointments. Jay Roman, I know, he got appointed to a board, and April Dankworth, very pleased to see them. It takes citizens to volunteer to make these boards possible. So we appreciate all your input, all your volunteerism, and be ready to work because there's a lot of things going on in the city. So thank you again and congratulations. Next, I had a person or several people ask me about cruising in the city, and having lived through the 90s when cruising was popular in Piqua, people wanted to cruise in the downtown area, and my response to the people that asked me, why don't we let cruising go on in the downtown area, I said, well, there's an ordinance that affects just the downtown area. There's no cruising ordinance at the mall or any place else. but it's important to keep that downtown area open, because if safety services vehicles cannot go from west to east or east to west because people are cruising in that downtown area, and in the 90s we had that problem where vehicles couldn't get through, it would be a problem. I mean, it may delay a fire truck, it may delay a police officer from getting to a critical call. We don't want to see that happen. So I don't want to change the ordinance on, and I don't know if the rest of you guys are interested in that or not, but if you want to cruise, go out to the mall. There's a big circle out there that you could cruise around, and since the stores are going to be opening back up, go visit some of the stores out there. They need some business as well. So you're welcome to do that. I would love to see people out that way. All right. Next on my list is I spoke today to the guy that owns a new business coming to town. It's called Hannah's Bistro. His name's Tommy McCoy. Great guy. Local guy is coming back and wanting to reestablish his roots. He's looking forward to coming back to Piqua. The Southern cuisine that he's going to offer is going to be dynamite. Look forward to him coming, and if everybody can go out and visit him when he does come out, it'll be in the mall area. Hopefully, we will start him out on the right track, and you guys can get some good food. So, looking forward to that. Next is I want to congratulate all of the graduates, not just Piqua, but Lehman as well. My daughter graduated this year. She's a senior at Lehman High School. Very proud of her, and I'm very proud of all the Piqua graduates as well. Congratulations. This is the strangest graduation that you will ever see, and it's something you'll be able to talk about throughout your lifetime. But you, by all measures, you're still graduates. You're still going on to do bigger and better things, and congratulations, and we look forward to a bright future for all of you. I have one question for the city manager, and it would be about the software for the utilities. And the reason being is that I had several questions asked about me. Where are we at with that at this point in time?
Well, we are still continuing to encourage the working between the meter software and the financial software. That is where the issue lies. I think Ms. Holtzapple probably could give you a much better description of what's going on and how they've been working to try to get this resolved. We would love to get it resolved, and we're working to do that. Unfortunately, some of these companies have been off during the COVID virus situation, so we want to get back on that and make sure that they can get this finished. Cindy, you want to say anything about that?
Yes, as the city manager has indicated, all of the above. In fact, we've been in contact as recently as last Friday to start setting up some more meetings in terms of interfacing. One of the things that we'll have to do to go forward, because of some of the complications and sophistication of the AMI system, the automated meter reading system, is that we'll have to upgrade to a new platform. And so as part of what we'll be discussing soon will be a timeline to do that, and then we'll be bringing you back that proposal as soon as it's available.
You don't have any idea on what kind of timeline you're talking about?
Well, they're talking about between the next 6 months or so, but right now we're in the process of trying to get something intermittent between that time, but they're looking at what's required of that software, which isn't on their platform currently, so they have to evaluate that first. So hopefully we'll know. We're behind many others that are going through the same thing, and because of the COVID, we thought we'd be further along.
Yeah.
We started talking to them years ago, but more frequently since January, and then it was pretty much all put on hold because they're basically just doing what they can to keep everybody up and functioning, with everyone moving to a home environment, working from home versus being on site, as many of their clients are.
All righty. Hey, thank you. Appreciate that. And my final question, I guess, would be, where are we at with the language for the pools, so that I've had several people ask me about filling up their pools.
It is online.
It's
So
online
you can
at
go
this
on
point.
to the UBO site, and all the information's on there with the application form.
All right,
Yeah.
all right.
One more. if you
Yes,
don't
sir,
mind.
go ahead.
I meant to ask, when it comes to the commission meetings, I've had some questions as well too about participation. I know we're still kind of waiting for governor's orders and those.
Correct.
Has there been any kind of change or update or indication when we might
None-
be able to?
None whatsoever. We listen on a daily basis, or the days that he has his briefings, and today was really kind of loosening up the travel restrictions that had been placed, and you're free to travel. They still have recommendations, but it's not a requirement to quarantine anymore if you travel out of state. So every day, we're waiting for those new restrictions to be lessened. They have not made any changes to, you can't have more than 10 people in a meeting.
Okay.
And certainly the mass gathering has not been changed, and we're not sure how that's going to, when or how that's going to work. So we're still under those restrictions at this time.
Okay.
He's going after people in bars, so. I don't
Is the
wanna
mass
see-
gathering just for indoors? I don't pay attention to the
No,
news.
it's outdoors too, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask the question about having an open-air meeting. One thing that we try to focus on with the schools now, we're talking about like open-air classrooms to get the kids outside, get them involved in the air, reading books out there, so on and so forth. So I was just going to ask about an open-air commission meeting.
Now, the festivals, and you don't know, the problem is you don't know how many people you're going to attract.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of, I got a list of festivals that are even scheduled, weren't scheduled till October, that have already canceled.
So
So-
4th of July has been canceled, right?
We have not canceled ours yet. We're still holding out to see whether the mass gathering restriction is lifted.
Someone asked me that.
But
I just thought of
there
it.
have been a number of municipalities that have canceled their 4th of July events already, but we have not yet done that.
Great. Okay. All right. Unless there's any other questions, thank you all for joining us in these sessions. It's less than ideal. I know some people would like to be here, but please take advantage of asking the questions online. I mean, I would like to hear and get some more interaction. I do hear from people, phone, email, text messages. I get stuff from Facebook, Twitter, Nextdoor. But since you can't be here, please communicate with us because we're your voice. We want to hear from you. And unless anybody has anything else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.